Hello, my name is Joseph and I want to show you how to design a poster for Sunday service in a very simplistic way. We will jump right into Adobe Photoshop. This is my software of choice and we get started. So the first thing I'm choosing is my size. I have a default preset that is 2400 pixels wide by 2700 high. And then I have a resolution of 700 pixels per inch. I'll create that so you get this blank canvas over here. Second, you want to import your pictures. So I will import a picture from my WhatsApp. I'll Control C or just choose copy. And then come to Photoshop and paste it there. Control V. Once this is done, the next step is to I do not want to have the background, so I will remove the background. The way to do that in a simplistic way, I'm using Adobe Photoshop 2025, is you come here to subject, to select and subject. Once this is done, you click on this mask icon so that you mask out the background and you remain with the subject. So I want to introduce another color down here so that I'm able to see if there are halos around the subject, and by halos I mean these small areas. So the way to remove them, if you have a tablet, you can use a pen and go in with a brush and remove it, or you can come here, select the mask and then come to filter and choose other and choose minimum. You will set your figure from 2 all the way to the maximum, but the more you go, the farther you go, the higher you go with the figure, the more it cuts into your subject. So choosing 2 is a sweet spot, and for demonstration let me show you. If I choose something like 6.5, you get some of the edges getting inside, so I'll stick back to 2. Alright, and hit OK. So I'm satisfied with the result. If you want, you can make it a little bit different, but for me, I'm satisfied. I do not have a problem with this and this because probably I will not need to use that part. But if you so wish, another way to do this will be to use the lasso tool. Come in here, even the pen tool does the same. Select that area and hit delete on your keyboard. Also under the lasso tool you have the polygonal. If you want more control over your lines and curves, you can use this, or you could use the pen tool, but that's a lesson for another day. And then hit delete on your keyboard. Remember, I'm selecting on the layer and not the mask. Alright, then remove this part if you have a problem with it. After you select, you hit delete on your keyboard, it goes away. Now we have our subject isolated as such. Now we need to do the rest of the content. So I do not have any sketch. I'm sketching purely from my mind, so I'm using a combination of move tool and transform to resize and move it around like that. Then I want to return to white for my background so that the rest of the items go as I want. I'll quickly draw a shape here using a pen tool. So I'm using a pen tool to just click on the edges and create this shape. After everything is done, I choose shape, so it creates a shape like that. For some reason I love working with rasterized shapes, and I'll go down here and choose gradient overlay and choose just the green that I had. It's right here, and choose OK. And come back to this other point, choose the same green, but make it a little bit darker so that one side is darker, another side is lighter. Also want to reverse by coming back to this angle and moving it the opposite way. So now the dark side is on the left. I can also shift the scaling a little bit to my liking. I want to come below the subject and introduce another layer, which is a white layer. Let me just do it like so. and make it a shape as well. You cannot see it because it's white on white. And then below that, I also want another layer. Let me choose an orange and do the same and create a shape. All right, so this is it. I want to tilt this a bit, so Ctrl T and then just simply rotate it. And then I want to come here, add more effects for depth, and by that I want to add a shadow. This shadow I want it facing upward, so I'll make the angle something like -120, make it a little bit darker. So come back to this, do the same, drop a shadow, and to this one do the same, drop shadow. I may want to move everything down like that. So that part is done. Let's go to text and type in Sunday. I have Sunday. I'm using Antone as my font, and Ctrl T and move one of the points. You will resize it, also move it to where you like it. I like mine there. I do not like the color, so I'll go back to my file explorer, look for a background that will serve as a clipping mask, because I want to create a clipping mask. Let me choose something like this to give it just a more dramatic effect. So come here and put it up here, and maybe size it a bit, and rasterize this layer as well, and choose create clipping mask. So what this does is now this background is clipped to the text. If I move it around, it moves through this text layer, adds more dramatic feeling to the font. Another thing I want to do is to add a little bit of an element to the background, so I'm looking for something like a city. These are backgrounds I downloaded from freepik.com. They haven't paid, but I'm giving you this tip as a designer. Right, so I'll choose this city. I want a city looking kind of a background. Don't ask me what city this is. And I want to move it all the way to the background, like so. Pick my brush tool, rasterize the layer, and come back to this side, to the brush size. Make it a little bit bigger. If you're unable to see this size of your brush, you need to hit caps lock on your keyboard if you're using Windows, and you will see this, because caps lock toggles it on and off, like so. Once I have this brush selected, this is a soft round brush, I'll choose clear on the options and simply clear this part. And also, because I do not want it taking a lot of attention from my subject, I will reduce the opacity a little bit, like that. I want to introduce another aspect, and that is another picture. So let me go to my Windows Explorer. So I have a picture here that I think could come in handy and add to the church feeling. This is a church picture, and after this is done, I'll make it also a little bit faded. So I'll come to the adjustment layers and choose luminosity so that I have it in black and white, and then reduce the opacity so that we are not looking at that. That part is done. So we can go back to making our background a little bit more colored, so that the Sunday text is a little bit popping. Let me choose from many of my backgrounds, and sometimes this involves experimenting with these backgrounds. I'll use this and see if it fits. Not so much, so I'll go back to my backgrounds, look for another one, and so on and so forth until I find something that works. Maybe this works. Let's see that. I think this works. So I'll put it somewhere below everything else. I also want to rasterize it. Rasterize and clear, so that there are no distinct edges to anything. Alright, so now we come back to Sunday. Let me stroke it with white. color should be white. Normal opacity at 100 is okay, and add another effect called drop shadow. I want it dropping downwards. Increase the opacity and increase that distance a little bit. I may or may not need to increase the distance between fonts, but I think I want it that way, so I'll leave everything as is. So I'm selecting the clipped image and the text together, and Control T, and resizing everything again so that it's all visible. Then I need to type another text called service. Here we go. Choose another color, maybe a green would do, and then choose a font. Let me go with this and make it a little bigger, and maybe do a stroke. Let me try a stroke again. This will be too much stroke, but it's okay. So we have Sunday service as such. And then another thing we want to do is to import our logo. So go back here. Let me choose a logo that has black text. Resize it. Put it where you like it. I like mine somewhere here. And then I will type light of the world. As so. And then I want it in black. So the text should be black. And the font should be, I have a font here. I will choose this font. And then I will reduce the size. Another way of reducing size is simply Control T and resizing it to how you like. This is the beauty of Adobe Photoshop. Right, now I have that, and I have that. I can move it around however way I like it. So let's talk about this person. This person is called Reverend Josephat Malongo. We have it there, and let's check that the font color is friendly and visible. Okay, so we have him there, and we will type another word. So this person is ministering. Okay, and maybe do a yellow and use the same font that we used for service. Let's use it somewhere here. Maybe do a colon like so, and then we do a date somewhere. Let's do a box somewhere here, but because I want this box to pop, I'll use a different color. Use a paint bucket, paint it, and then come here and say, you can type it anywhere and then move it. So this Sunday will be on the, let me just check real quick, the 26th October 2025. All right, we have it there, and I'll use the same font as I used for the name. Okay, and put it up there. I mean above the rectangle that we drew, like so. This is almost done, but let's include hosts in all this, because this is a special minister. So I will pick a host from another file. So I'm lifting a few other elements from this file to make my work easier. It's basically almost the same thing that we did, removing backgrounds, making a poster. But since this is a pre-made poster, I will use this, copy these two people, and then paste. And then resize them here, move them somewhere here, maybe a little bit lower, and say something like hosted by Reverend. Let's just write their names first. I'm not so much liking this pink here, so I'll try a yellow, and then I'll have to change this text color to black. Change it to black like so. Then I'll also say hosted by Reverend Douglas and Pastor Dorcas. And change the font so that I'm consistent with a few things. Here we go. If I wanted to, I would add more details to this, but I want this poster to end here, and those details will be like the location of the church, etc. I want it to be here, so I will crop it right there, then hit this. So this is simply how I make a Sunday service posters. These posters are important because they get to remind people to attend church. They play a major role, so you may want to get in touch if you want to be having these posters every Sunday for your church, for your pastor, or maybe for any other thing that you want to order posters for. My name is Joseph, and I'll see you in the next tip video.